the milk faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, more vigorous than the Energizer Bunny. Look out into the pasture. It's a Holstein. It's a Jersey. It's a Swedish Red. No, it's a super cow. Hello, I'm Victoria Cagle, and 11 years ago I embarked on a new adventure. I decided to show a dairy heifer for 4-H. Williams Dairy Farm, located about 2 miles from my house, seemed to be a great place to start this new adventure. Mr. and Mrs. Williams, the owner of Williams Dairy, selected several heifers for me to choose from. Wow, picking out a heifer for the first time sure was an experience. They all looked the same to me, but boy did I have a lot to learn. To my surprise, the ones that were offered as show heifers didn't look like the Holstein cows that they were using for milking. After talking with Mrs. Williams, she told me that the heifer I would be showing was a cross between a Holstein and a Jersey. I named her Sable. Yep, you guessed it, I named her for her color. The next show seasons, the heifers I chose looked more like Holsteins, but after talking with Mr. and Mrs. Williams, I found out that she was a cross between a Holstein, a Jersey, and a Swedish Red. Now, this is starting to pique my interest, I thought. Why the cross? Why did the three-way cross look more like a Holstein? Rather than sit back and wonder, like Clark Kent, I decided to investigate. In the United States, the main dairy breed is Holstein, which makes up 90% of the national dairy herd. Jersey cows are the second most popular dairy breed, making up 7% of the national dairy herd. All other breeds combined contribute to the final 3%. Formal research on dairy crossbreeding in this country traces back to a U.S. Department of Agriculture project that began in 1939. It was followed by a series of crossbreeding experiments conducted by universities and research institutions in the years following World War II. The crosses involved Holstein, Guernsey, some brown Swiss and Ayrshire, and also a few Jersey animals. The general conclusions were that purebred Holstein cows almost always gave more milk in a single 305-day period than any cross studied. However, there was evidence of heterosis for yields, livability, growth, and reproduction. Every time you cross, you get more vigor, which means that there will be a more dramatic change with the more breeds you use. In the last 50-plus years, some things have changed. Inbreeding levels are increasing in purebred populations as use of superior genetic animals concentrated that genetic base further. Fertility has declined in the U.S. purebred dairy population as a correlated response to selection for higher yields and/or from inbreeding depression. Organic or low-input dairy production may have special interest in crossbreeding if hybrid vigor reduces the need for medical intervention or if crossbreds respond better as grazing animals than cows of purebreds. With this being said, it seems like hybrid vigor is what we need to focus on. Hybrid vigor is the increased growth, disease resistance, or fertility seen in hybrid species. It is the occurrence of a genetically superior offspring from mixing the genes of its parents. In other words, it's when two different breeds are crossed to form stronger offspring. Hybrid vigor is also known as heterosis. There's more to hybrid vigor than just taking a crossbred cow and breeding her with any old bull. Numerous studies have been conducted over the years to look at this very subject. If you want to take full advantage of this phenomenon, there has to be some thought put into the process. Hybrid vigor is most fully expressed when you use bulls and cows of known ancestry, not just breeding any old bull to a cow you pick up from Joe down the road or that you bought at the sale barn because the price was right. Each time that you crossbreed with a different breed, you get more vigor. Hybrid vigor has many advantages. Your dairy herd will have stronger immune systems, less health problems, will be stronger, will not consume as much feed, and they will have higher fat-corrected milk. Each breed has its positive attributes and adds to the variety we need. Jersey cattle would be good for crossbreeding for many reasons. They're easier to breed back, they have a higher butterfat percentage, they have a longer productive life, and Jerseys are also smaller cattle in general, so they require less maintenance, and calving is easier as well. Holsteins are the most abundant breed and have the highest milk production, so this fact itself makes Holstein a good choice for almost every crossbreeding program. Ayrshires have more valuable milk because it is high in butterfat. Ayrshires also have 4% butterfat in their milk and their milk is almost already homogenized because their fat globules are smaller. Brown Swiss cattle are good for crossbreeding because they're extremely strong and powerful, especially in their front end. They're a dual-purpose breed, which makes them more valuable for meat production and improves their salvage value. Brown Swiss have a more correct set to their feet and legs, and they're also the second highest milk-producing breed. The advantage of using Guernseys in a crossbreeding program is that they have a higher butter fat yield and have a golden color to their milk because they have more beta-carotene. Each breed also has a few disadvantages to use in a crossbreeding program. Jersey cattle do not produce as much milk, so you will lose some milk production, which should be offset with higher milk components and quality. Holsteins have larger bodies, so they have a higher maintenance cost than most other breeds. Ayrshires are thicker than the other major breeds, and they also have bad set to their rear legs. The main disadvantage for brown Swiss cattle is that they have larger bodies, so they have a higher maintenance cost as well. Guernseys have many structural faults, and they are reproductively unsound, so they are rarely used in a crossbreeding program. Even after years of improvement through genetic selection, dairymen today are looking for ways to improve their cattle. They want their animals to be more efficient and productive and easier to breed back. They want them to have a longer productive life, higher milk quality, and be stronger, more productive animals. Instead of looking at bulls within the breed that they have, maybe it's time to look outside the breed and into crossbreeding to improve their animals through hybrid vigor and heterosis. They may lose some value as the animals are not uniform in pattern and color, but look at all the positive traits they would gain by using other breeds and how much more efficient these animals would be through simply using a different breed. The first step would be coming up with a plan. Which plan would you use and why? Then look at the market. Which breed will fit the needs of the market where you're located? Is it a cheese market? If so, Jerseys, Guernseys, or Ayrshires may fit your needs. Is it a fluid market? If so, Holsteins and Brown Swiss have to be considered to provide the most volume of milk. Is it a small fresh milk market where you don't want to homogenize the milk and save the costly step in manufacturing? If so, Ayrshire should be considered. At the same time, the dairyman considers the advantage of each breed. He should also consider their faults and if they would fit into their overall progression toward the best animal possible. Would Guernseys fit, or would Jerseys bring more positive attributes? Which three breeds bring the most to the table as far as the needs of the market, the dairyman and supply? What breed is the base breed to begin a crossbreeding program? Since Holsteins are 90% of the national dairy herd and the largest, that may be the most efficient place to start. If you had Jersey, would you use Holstein the first cross, or wait until the third to gradually get larger animals? A lot of questions need to be answered to develop your plan, but the end product of a stronger, more productive, longer-lived, and more efficient animal should get you at least considering crossbreeding in your dairy herd. Filling the milk tank faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, moving more vigorously than the Energizer Bunny will result in a super cow for your herd. I hope that you've gained knowledge from what I've shared with you today on hybrid vigor and its advantages and disadvantages for each breed. Thank you.
You may just have to cut the end of the video off.
Good job.